This is a drone's eye view of an extraordinary endeavor, almost entirely hidden from sight. While shoppers and city workers pound London's pavements above ground, this secret army of more than 10,000 workers is pulverizing the rock and clay right beneath their feet. They're building Crossrail, a brand new underground railway costing almost £15 billion. It's one of the most ambitious rail projects in Britain since the time of Brunel.
You ready?
I don't think we've seen anything to the scale and complexity of Crossrail before, certainly not in my lifetime.
In the last series, we followed engineers burrowing the maze of subterranean tunnels for the trains to pass through.
Pinch up nice and easy.
You know what? This is real. It's coming. We've been working night and day. And now for the second part of Crossrail.
Give us a shout if that's going to touch that handrail.
Now we follow workers as they embark on the crucial final phase.
Oh, stop there.
Engineers face the huge challenge of constructing the tracks, trains, platforms,
2 notches up again,
and stations.
Down a little bit so you face the me.
It's a constant battle to avoid snarling up the streets.
This is one of the busiest roads in London. You've got thousands of pedestrians walking past us. Pressure's on.
Or causing them to cave in.
The wall hasn't collapsed then yet, no?
Great big mega project all across London. Every station is feeling the pressure and is feeling the heat.
For the last 3 years, cameras have been following crews as they struggle to finish construction, so that the first train can depart on time.
Tight.
They're coming that way, yeah? We've got to be here before 6.
Before we open, there's a lot to finish. All our reputations are at stake.
We got to get the track in, we got to get the platform, and then we got to get out of the way because the trains are coming through.
This is the exclusive inside story of the race to complete London's new underground railway. "5 a.m. Farringdon, the heart of London and a historic hub for trade in the capital. As merchants at Smithfield Market set up their stalls,
Uh-oh. All right, ready to go. Down, down, down. It's not the 8 levels going down, it's the coming back up.
Crossrail project manager Linda Miller is descending 30 meters down into the bowels of the earth.
Fantastic. All right, so we're not too far to go.
We've got about half an hour.
Linda is joining workers to witness a critical milestone on the Crossrail project, the 18th and final tunneling breakthrough. This marks a key moment. For the last 3 years, 8 giant drilling machines like this have been excavating the earth to create the tunnels that Crossrail's trains will run through.
So there you are, you can see Whitechapel.
This final slab of concrete is all that stands in the way of the tunnels connecting up, so they run unimpeded from the east to the west.
Yeah, okay.
It also marks the start of a new phase in this trailblazing project.
Over the last 3 years, it has not been an easy dance by any stretch of the imagination. This is an incredibly, incredibly important moment in time. But this is also for us the starting gun of turning these great big cavernous concrete spaces into functioning, beautiful transportation systems for the next 120 years. All eyes and ears are on it coming through at the moment, and it's a moment of tension, it's a moment of anticipation. Oh!
With one final push, tunneling on Crossrail is complete.
Congratulations. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Welcome to Farringdon.
For every millimeter of this, I have been with it. I got the story for each one of them. I'm not exaggerating this, by the way, I'm romantic about it.
Fantastic night. Tonight's a night to be celebrated. It's a hard-fought success.
As workers carefully dismantle this last tunneling machine, a critical new chapter in this ambitious scheme kicks off.
Crossrail is a story of huge, huge moments and giant accomplishments. I've got 100 great big things I got to worry about every day. And going forward in the future, I have 1 million little things to worry about every day. Now it's a race to the finish line.
Crossrail is a brand new east-west railway being built directly below the heart of London. This new line is designed to ease the strain on the existing 150-year-old London Underground network that today struggles to cope with peak demand.
Crossrail is a huge new railway for London, so it's going to be able to carry 200 million passengers a year, 10% increase in capacity. At a stroke, Crossrail will help to keep London moving for the next many, many years.
The new line will run overground from Reading and Heathrow in the west, straight underneath central London. It will plug directly into key mainline train stations, connecting the bustling West End to the historic Square Mile and the thriving East End, before terminating at Abbey Wood and Shenfield in Essex. 120 kilometres of new railway will link to the rest of the tube. Heathrow Airport will be just 26 minutes from London's main shopping district, Oxford Street, a journey that currently takes almost an hour on the tube. It's one of the biggest engineering projects in Europe.
A big construction project is a little bit like an orchestra. You've got many players, lots of skills, different skills, and they've all got to be playing to the same tune. The complexity that goes along with scale is, of course, intense. Railways are very difficult things to design and build.
Construction work on Crossrail began in 2009. The first major challenge facing engineers was to dig out 42 kilometres of train tunnels underneath central London. Now, with tunnelling complete, they face the Herculean feat of fitting out the platforms, laying the tracks, building a fleet of new trains, and constructing 10 cavernous new stations in central London.
And hold it there, stop.
With the first train scheduled to run in less than 3 years, the clock is ticking. The biggest station that needs building along the line will be at Farringdon. Farringdon is home to Smithfield Market, the largest meat market in the country, and the city's world-famous diamond crafting quarter, Hatton Garden. Once complete, Farringdon will become one of Britain's busiest train stations, servicing 150,000 passengers a day.
Thank you. Oh, there you are. Every day I bounce out of bed ready to come here and come to work, feeling great about it.
Linda Miller faces the mammoth task of making sure its gates open on time.
This station is really going to be where the action starts when the railway opens. If you were to take the Shard, which is the tallest skyscraper in Europe right now, and lay it on its side, it would fit inside of my Farringdon station. We're enormous in scale. Our platforms are over 300 meters long. What that means in the future, if you're stepping off the trains at Farringdon, you need to know which way you're going, because if you walk in the wrong direction, you're going to be half a kilometer from where you wished you were.
Linda is no stranger to challenges like this. A former US Army pilot and paratrooper, Linda trained in engineering and helped build NASA's launch complex at Cape Canaveral in Florida. She has spent the last 4 years rebuilding these Victorian train tunnels that will form part of the Crossrail line. But constructing Farringdon's £375 million station will be her biggest test to date.
Farringdon is the most expensive of the stations on the project. Looks great. Afternoon, guys. We get every day that we're spending the taxpayers' money, and we care about that because we're part of those people paying for this.
Linda's team's first task is to dig out 2 huge 8-story deep holes. These will form the ticket holes for Farringdon Station. Underground, they must widen the freshly dug tunnels to create its platforms. Then dig out passageways and escalator shafts to link them to the ticket halls and entrances. Excavating the earth to build the platforms could be treacherous. Geological fault lines run right across the site, and an ancient river once flowed through here, leaving the earth pitted with unstable pockets of sand and water. If the team hit these areas as they dig, the earth could cave in around them, so they must be on guard. While workers above ground dig out the huge holes in which they will build the station's ticket halls, 30 meters beneath the site, the sandy earth is making excavating the train platforms tough going.
So this is what we've got. Here's a bird's eye view looking down on the station. We're facing the most dangerous type of soil. There's not 1, but 3 different fault lines right through the middle of our work. Fault lines present a danger to the long-term durability of the railroad itself. The soil changes, slips, quite literally, 3 to 5 meters. It provides a pathway where you could have cracks, where you could have future flooding.
They need to double the width of the train tunnels here to create the platforms. They use excavators to carefully claw into the unstable earth.
The team are digging out a mountain out from under London. Simultaneously with the dragging away of that soil is the spraying of concrete on that face so that the face doesn't fall in on you.
All right, Joe.
As it flies towards the wall under pressure, it's dry, just barely smack at the time it hits the wall. The mining is going well, but we're never complacent. We never say, oh yeah, we're all that good, because that's the day it goes wrong.
Once dry, they line the platform walls with a plastic membrane.
The membrane is fully waterproof, tough, durable, and it's going to form a seal around our entire tunnel. We are going to be wrapped like a Christmas present.
It takes 5.5 football pitches worth of the membrane to protect the platform and escalator passages that lead up to the ticket halls.
See, doesn't that look so astonishing? For a while, it's going to be Orange World around here.
Two stops east lies the vibrant community of Whitechapel, home to the foundry that cast the Big Ben bell, and famous for its bustling market, which has been the heart of the community for more than 300 years. One of Crossrail's 10 central London stations will sit in this district. The station here won't be completely new. Instead, engineers are undertaking a £111 million overhaul of Whitechapel's existing tube station, built in 1876. Their aim is to create a modern, open-plan station to plug Crossrail trains directly into the existing tube and overground services that stop here. While workers complete Whitechapel's train platforms below ground,
Got that out, mate.
proud Yorkshireman Jim Forrest leads the team gearing up to build the new station above. It will be one of Jim's toughest jobs in a career of trailblazing projects.
I've worked in construction since 1960. I've worked on the Humber Bridge, I worked on 1,000-foot concrete chimneys, nuclear power stations, coal power stations, you name it. But this is the highlight, what I'm doing now. I did retire in 2003 for a fortnight and then came back. When I realised it wasn't a holiday I was on, I thought, well, I'd better look for something to do. Depends what comes up, but it would be a good project for a swan song, really.
Whitechapel is one of the most confined and most complex construction sites along the entire Crossrail line. Market stalls, roads, and residential buildings hem the site in.
Whitechapel is one of the most logistically complex projects I've ever worked on. We've got very little space to work above and around a live station. We've got schools and public and sports centres. I think the station layout is not very good for modern day. The passenger flow is very poor. There's no step-free access, and it looks as though it's just been thrown together. What we've got now is not fit for purpose, so we've got to change it.
The layout of the existing Whitechapel station is so haphazard that it's the only place where London Underground tube trains pass right over the mainline overground trains. Squeezing a conventional station into such a chaotic space is impossible. So engineers must build the new ticket hall inside a unique 180-metre-long floating bridge that passes right over the site. This station bridge will run north to south, connecting down to the Crossrail tunnels, channeling passengers to existing train lines. A skeleton of 6,500 pieces of steel will form its frame. This will allow the station bridge to hang from the surrounding Victorian infrastructure, giving the impression that it floats above Whitechapel. 352 panes of glass will allow light to stream through the structure. Special aluminium roof cladding will absorb train noise, while carbon-cleaning sedum plants will top out the elevated concourse, giving this 19th century station a 21st century makeover.
If I was given a choice, I would maybe say yes, we should flatten this and build a nice, but then it wouldn't fit, it'd be like a carbuncle in amongst the rest of it. So you've got to be respectful of what other people want.
Keeping the existing station operational while they build the new one above it makes this project even more difficult for Jim and unpopular with commuters.
Whitechapel is open, but this particular entrance is going to be out of service until about 2018 while it's being refurbished, Crossrail's being introduced.
You've got to go about half a mile to get from the platform to get to the hospital, which is not very good if you're late.
There is now, there's a new pedestrian crossing right opposite the exit to the station though, so you just carry on. It's the same distance.
No,
I've been hit by the station closure this morning. Had to go from one station to another and didn't really know my way there. There's always work going on, and it's not just here, but it's all over London.
I'm going to have this cup of Yorkshire tea and then I'm ready for the day. Two lorries. They're coming that way, yeah?
Yeah, they're coming down.
5 a.m. Jim's waiting for the steel pieces of the station bridge that have been prefabricated in the Netherlands to arrive. Once they've squeezed onto site, Jim's team must assemble them into much larger sections, and then use cranes to lower them into position over the train lines.
We've got to be here before 6, so there are 2 en route, one imminent, and the other one not far behind it. We've got to get them off the road by 6, because that's when the traffic order is timed out. 20 minutes now, okay. Here we are. The loads are here now. There's traffic marshals going down to block the traffic down that end. We've also got a traffic marshals down that end to stop the traffic there. These lads are controlling the rear axle steering, so it helps them get around a very tight radius. You can see how much there is, at least a metre hanging over either side. Here we don't have a lot of clearance on the street furniture. The loads look big. The shape of them makes life difficult for them. Here we are. The road is now open, and it's open with 7 minutes to spare. Now we need to take this down to the crane to allow the other 3 lorries to drop back to make sure that the front lorry isn't blocking the pedestrian way when the market opens.
With 6,500 pieces of steel to guide in and assemble over the next few months, Jim's team has their work cut out.
Another one bites the dust, eh?
Yeah.
The markets here are at the heart of community life. But some traders have been forced to move their pitch while Whitechapel Station is rebuilt.
My shop was in front of that station, okay, so customer basically used to come in the street, okay, but now it's little bit further. But basically it's only for 2 years, so after 2 years more customer will come because of the Crossrail and other stuff, so should be better.
Two stops west, Linda's 500-strong team has run into problems building the new station at Farringdon.
The track teams, they're like a juggernaut, so we got to get out of the way. This is one of the busiest sites in the entire project, and in fact, the busiest I've ever been on in my career. But there's a new problem to solve, and this is a really tough one.
The team has dug out the 8-story deep holes that will form the ticket halls for the station, and are now building its walls and floors.
We had 3 pieces arrive on site on Friday that we couldn't get in over the weekend.
That is going to be the hardest of them all.
Underground, there's a battle for space. As the walls of the platforms close in, it's become almost impossible to shuttle crucial materials and equipment down to this crammed subterranean site. This jam could hold up the track-laying team that is fast approaching this stop.
Right on our tail of our tunneling operations, the track laying has begun out in East London and is heading towards us. So the track layers need safe, clear access from street level down into the tunnels that is not through the stations.
We lower the unit down into these first 2 beams, and then you just remove the jack.
One thing about being an engineer, especially in the construction industry, is you're always having to think on your feet.
To get equipment down underground faster, Linda's team hatches a plan to dig out an emergency 30-metre deep vertical shaft. This will plug into the tunnels below to give workers direct access. Building this shaft won't be easy. Above ground, the site is crowded. The only available space to dig down is on the neighbouring tube line platform at Barbican Station. The shaft will sit less than 2 metres away from live tube tracks. The team digging it must remain focused, or they could miss their target, or delay the tube trains that need to pass through this station.
Sometimes you need a plan B, sometimes a plan C, a plan D, and E until you get it right and get what you need.
The pressure is on Steve Parker to construct the shaft fast.
We're currently working 24/7 at Farringdon. The pressure's always on to get the job completed, and it's a big motivator. It's a big motivator. Ideally, you'd be building this sort of shaft in the middle of a green field, impacting no one. It's a 5-metre diameter shaft. It's sunk by basically, there's a steel cutting edge on the bottom ring, and once we've got enough muck excavated, we basically can shove the ring down.
Steve's team must excavate more than 1,000 tons of clay to create the shaft. As they dig down, they must line its walls with concrete panels. The panels lock together to form a ring that stops the earth caving in. Hydraulic jacks thrust the rings down into the ground as they dig deeper. They must work day and night to complete the 30-metre deep shaft, with trains passing right alongside.
It doesn't always run super smooth. You're working with quite large sections of concrete. They're quite big, and you lift it in position with a crane. There is a bit of sort of jiggling about that you need to do to get the ring built. They've got to try and keep the shape of the ring, so when they shove it, it goes down plumb and level. So it's very important that you need to keep the diameter right, so they're constantly measuring. After each plate is positioned, they measure to make sure it's at the right dimension.
Yo, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Final segment's going in, it's what's known as keying up the ring. This is probably the trickiest part of the ring building process. So the ring is built, 15 left to do.
Steve's team must keep up the pace so the track layers can pass through Farringdon on time. In the city's business district, engineers are hard at work building another brand new station for Crossrail trains at Liverpool Street. Digging out the massive 23,500 square metre hole for this particular ticket hall creates a unique portal into the past for Crossrail's lead archaeologist, Jay Carver.
You don't really get the opportunity to dig large holes deep into the ground and get that full sequence of London's history that spans back 2,000 years. Crossrail's been really interesting for archaeologists because of its scale. The route east-west across London has provided this kind of unique slice across the city.
Over the past 5 years, Jay's team has unearthed over 10,000 extraordinary finds at more than 40 different sites. From prehistoric bison bones found in West London to 25 skeleton victims of the Black Death found in the East.
Every site has a significance, hence why we're carefully revealing what remains and recording it before it's gone.
Crossrail station at Liverpool Street will be the deepest along the line.
We've got as many names for mud as Eskimos have names for snow.
And the deeper they dig, the further back in time Jay's team can investigate the city's history.
We're actually standing in the excavation for the new ticket hall at Liverpool Street for Crossrail, and we're looking for a feature, and that's a Roman road. So Rob, let's take a look at this map that you've got. A road has been postulated outside the city walls for a number of years. A part of it was found in Eldon Street, which is one block over that way, during the 90s.
The Roman city of London, Londinium, was founded nearly 2,000 years ago. Its 2-mile-long defensive wall protected a complex network of roads. Many of these formed the basis of London's modern streets. At its peak, Londinium was home to 60,000 citizens, making this small settlement tough to travel across without delays. Jay and his team are hunting for evidence of a Roman North Circular road that, like Crossrail, ran east to west around the walled city, cutting travel time through early London.
We know a lot about the central and western areas of the city, don't we? you know, but this is a really great opportunity to really try and understand this part of the Roman city and what's going on outside the city wall.
60 archaeologists are working around the clock to excavate this huge pit. But no one knows for sure if they will find the lost Roman highway. One stop west at Farringdon, it's taken Linda and Steve's team 8 weeks to excavate the emergency shaft beneath Barbican Station, giving access to the tunnels below.
Now the shaft is built, the materials are moving. They're able to move as fast as they can, 24 hours round the clock, doing what they need to do to pick up the speed to deliver their part of the job.
With 15 months to go until Crossrail trains start to run, workers race to shuttle the vital materials they need underground to complete the platforms and lay the rails. Greg Purcell is responsible for installing this section of the railway under Farringdon.
It's not often you get to work on a project of this magnitude. It is something, it's maybe a once-in-a-generation thing. It's amongst the most logistically complicated programs of work I've ever been on in my career. If one part of the production line fails, the whole production line fails.
Greg's team need ingenious machinery to help them lay 50 kilometers of track in time for the trains to roll.
Track installation in the modern era is a completely different animal than it was maybe 100 years ago.
In 1863, track-laying gangs of up to 25 men completed work on London's very first underground tube, the Metropolitan line. Working in shifts, they could lay up to 150 meters of sleepers and rail in a day. Today, these machines can lay over 4 times that.
On Crossrail, we've got a fleet of high-tech vehicles. We've got a 465-metre-long concreting train. We have a multi-purpose vehicle to work in tunnels. This machine is called the multi-purpose gantry. There's 4 of these on Crossrail, and they're worth about £1 million each. Looks like a transformer, and it can change its shape depending on what condition it's working in, whether it's lifting rails, lifting bits of reinforcement. The whole machine can take 15 tons in load.
This mechanical monster can lay up to 600 meters of sleepers a day.
Multi-purpose gantries are a godsend, and I would struggle to understand how we build a project like this without that sort of kit.
Once the trains start running, these tunnels will become noisy. But right here, Greg faces a challenge like no other. He needs this section of the tracks to make almost no sound at all.
Here, we are directly beneath the Barbican. Right directly beneath.
Opened in 1982, the Barbican Centre is a hub for arts and culture. The centre's most prestigious performance space, Concert Hall 1, sits 2 stories below ground.
The Barbican Centre is the home of the London Symphony Orchestra. It presents regular seasons from the Royal Shakespeare Company. It really is one of the truly great artistic centres in the UK. A lot of music was about exploring the relationship between the very quietest sounds and silence. And therefore, a lot of performances really focus on that magical area of audibility.
And there's the rub. The Barbican's Concert Hall 1 sits just 17 meters above Crossrail's tunnels. Noise or vibrations from trains could travel through the earth and into the concert hall, disturbing performances. To guard against this, Crossrail engineers have developed ingenious floating tracks, unique concrete slabs of rail and sleepers that sit on special springs. When a train passes over these springs, they should absorb all of the energy and noise before it reaches the concert hall.
Floating track slab allows that noise to be brought down even lower. But on the surface, you won't hear anything when you're watching Hamlet.
It takes over 150 tons of concrete reinforced with steel bars to form each 30-meter-long floating track slab.
So what you can see behind you now is all the guys assembling the track. We've got all the reinforcements complete. The spring housings are all installed. We've got all the rail, and this slab is being set up to cast the concrete on top. Ready to go. The concrete that we pour here is called Magnadence. A very expensive mix of concrete. We pay around £1,000 a cubic metre for it. Traditional concrete costs maybe a tenth of that. The reason it's so expensive is because it's upwards of 40% heavier than normal concrete. That in turn will then result in very, very low to the point of hardly any vibration in a Barbican theatre. We treat it a little bit like gold on the project, so we had to keep the waste concrete to an absolute bare minimum. Are we there, Stu? There we go. That's the liquid gold coming out there.
They flush foam balls down the pipe to eke out every last drop of Magnadence.
Very impressive.
Once set, they screw the springs into place on the underside of the slab and raise it to its final height.
So this is a section of the floating track slab that we cast. We're going to be putting the springs in there, and we will then jack up the slab. When you're in a Barbican theatre watching whatever show you're watching, you won't hear a thing.
With the slabs cushioned by the springs, they can set the rails on top. But they'll only know for sure if their silent track system works when the trains start to roll. With this crucial section of the railway in place, the team can pick up the pace through the rest of the tunnels. 2 stops east, in Whitechapel, Jim's team is fitting together the huge pieces of steel that will form the area's new floating bridge station.
Can we make sure them flanges don't bite into the tarmac?
Space here is so tight that they have no option but to assemble the bridge sections in a neighbouring school.
Yeah, that's enough on that one.
Luckily, school's out today. It's Sunday.
These elements are all fastened together by hand. This is probably similar to putting together a flat pack wardrobe, and you just hope that at the end of the day you haven't got 2 or 3 nuts and bolts left.
Move round to your left for me as you're going.
We're putting the big pieces of steel together. Once they're together, they will both be lifted simultaneously over onto the railway. We connect big blocks to big blocks and make a mega block.
Once assembled, Jim's team must use cranes to swing each section into position over Whitechapel's mainline train tracks. The line is closed for today's operation, but must reopen in less than 48 hours, ready for Monday morning's rush hour. He needs everything to run like clockwork to avoid chaos.
Yeah, no, shake. Come down on that one. Come down on that one. Yeah, come down.
The first big section of bridge is ready to lift. But there's a problem. Bad weather threatens to shut down the entire operation and could delay the project.
To your left for me as you're going.
We're taking our time. This is a difficult operation to carry out because the alignment has got to be precise. One of our main concerns is monitoring the wind. It does make the loads unstable. We obviously have to keep an eye on it all the time.
Tall buildings hem this site in. They channel the wind into a strong tunnel of air. If the wind gets up during the big lift, there's a risk it could blow the bridge sections off course into the residential buildings next door.
I can hear the tension coming into the slings and shackles now. The load is now being lifted. See the steady movement with the crane lifting it up.
It takes great skill to carefully maneuver this 40-ton chunk of steel away from the buildings and down towards the railway tracks.
Jimmy down, another little flick to your left for me. Right, that's nice like that.
So far, so good.
The section must slot into this 25-metre-long gap that stretches between this handrail and this crossbeam. It's going to be tight.
Go to your left a bit more, mate. You let me coming down, that's your way. All stop there for me a minute. All stop there.
Just as they near the drop zone, they hit another glitch.
Do it the handrail.
What you need to do, take a foot out of it. Okay, such a tight fit with the handrails, but to get the unit in, they've got to cut a small gap in the handrail.
They must act fast. A hold-up here could stop trains running tomorrow and result in Crossrail bosses being fined over £100,000.
If they cut the top one off, they may well have to cut the second one off.
You ready with your podger, mate, yeah? You put your podger in?
Yep.
Right, how's that looking on that handrail now?
That looks pretty sweet.
Right, are we happy to come down, yeah?
I'm ready. You ready, Adam? You all right? You ready?
Yeah, start bringing it down slowly then.
Okay, Dave, nice and steady, mate. A few inches to go. Lower off. Give us a shout if that's going to touch that handrail. Just keep lowering, Dave. I would say you might need to get a bolt in, mate, because that one's now slightly out of line now. All right, Dave, inch to go. That's us in.
You're looking at a very happy chappy. It's gone really well, that.
But with more than 6,000 pieces of bridge yet to assemble, there's still a huge amount of work for Jim's team to do. One stop west at Liverpool Street. Jay Carver's team of archaeologists have hit pay dirt.
It's quite extraordinary, really. We're several metres down from the Liverpool Street pavement. Right below here we have the surface of a Roman road that would have seen the feet, the hooves, the wheels of Roman carts and traffic. What we've found so far is it's actually a really well-constructed road, perhaps 7 or 8 metres wide in its early phases, and then expanded to about 11 metres wide. Now that's quite a major highway.
This Roman highway, wider than a dual carriageway, would have helped people take a shortcut across the busy city, just like Crossrail's train line today.
The road is literally heading kind of diagonally across our site like that, generally east-west. It's quite likely this road is part of a network of external roads around the city of Londinium. Possibly we're talking here about a ring road. It's absolutely chocker full of debris and rubble, no doubt brought in from other places in the city. We can see lots of Roman tile, lots of pottery, lots of animal bone. The occasional human bone as well has been incorporated into this cemented surface. It takes us back to a time 2,000 years ago when transport was just as important to people living in London. And a road like this probably did reduce congestion in the city itself.
The digging will soon be over here, but Jay's work won't be done. His team will analyse all of the discoveries made at Crossrail sites in more detail to slowly piece together the secrets of London's lost past. in Farringdon. Linda's team has finished work on the station's new underground platforms, and the tracks are down.
Looks great. Afternoon, guys.
Above ground, the walls and floors of the ticket halls are in place. Now Linda faces a race to complete Farringdon Station's grand entrance. It must plug directly into the Thameslink station next door.
In the future, you will come into the doors, you'll be able to continue to walk straight to get on the Network Rail trains, or you'll be able to turn and go down into the Crossrail station.
Commuters will pass beneath a cavernous diamond-patterned ceiling to enter the station. To build it, Linda's team must piece together 105 bespoke concrete segments. This will be like assembling a giant jigsaw. 42 concrete-coated steel beams will form the diamond-shaped frames. 63 concrete panels will sit inside. Craning these awkward-shaped pieces into position without crashing into the busy Thameslink station next door will test the team's mettle.
Plugging into a live railway station has its whole set of new challenges. This is the last big part of the build, and it's going to be tough.
Andy Scholes is working with Linda on this stage of the build.
This is our main feature of Farringdon Station. 90% of what we've constructed here on site is buried.
It's not just a ceiling, this is a statement piece. This is what everyone will see over the next 120 years when they enter Farringdon Station.
The pressure is on in order to get this right first time.
First task, erect a network of steel supports to prop up the heavy ceiling as they lock it together.
Yeah, it's looking really good at the minute.
With the supports in place, Andy's team can start work on the ceiling.
It's a diamond shape and it's in keeping with the local area, and it gives a huge visual, striking welcome mat.
The ceiling's diamond design is inspired by the area's history. The nearby Hatton Garden Jewellery Quarter has produced and sold diamonds for over 150 years.
Here's a street which, if it isn't actually paved with gold, is still the richest highway in the world.
Since the 1930s, this area of London has been responsible for 90% of the world's diamond distribution.
Diamonds, the world's most precious commodity. But then, there's nothing too good for woman, now is there?
Sections of Farringdon Station's diamond-inspired ceiling are being made by hand at this factory in Derbyshire. Each concrete segment is cast in a bespoke mould and takes 2 weeks to create and cure. Once set and polished, workers need to drive each of the 105 pieces 130 miles into central London, where they must fight for space to get onto Andy's crammed site.
This is one of the busiest roads in London. You've got thousands of pedestrians walking past the site, watching and seeing what we're doing. It's quite important that we don't block up the traffic, so we need to keep a through flow of traffic coming past the site. We've now got a delivery coming in. What they're going to do is they're going to hold the traffic and we'll hold the public back to keep them safe. The wagon's now on site, and this will allow us to check each individual piece to make sure that they haven't been damaged in transit. We don't want any chips or bashes or any chunks taken out of the beams.
Marvellous.
In the East End, Jim's team is making headway building Crossrail's floating bridge station across the mainline railway at Whitechapel.
This is what we've been building up to for the last year, 18 months. And this is a culmination of a lot of effort.
They've had to shut down the tracks for 40 days over a 2-year period to assemble the base of the bridge. But once down, Jim's crew pick up the pace, erecting its walls, curved canopy roof, and walkways with fewer disruptions to passengers.
You've got to very gingerly stack them all in the right order. If you put them in the right order and secure them firmly, you'll get the pyramid made. Morning, you all right?
With 6,500 steel components assembled, the skeleton of the bridge is complete.
This is looking quite spectacular now that it's all come into shape. Yeah, it's looking really good. Coming out the ticket hall, it's thinking, wow, didn't know there's so much space in Whitechapel. Must be the most spacious place going, is this now? This is the concourse area. This area through here is where the passengers will come up from the London Underground lines. It just shows you what is achievable. Took a bit of Yorkshire grit to get to where we are now, yes.
Over the next few months, Jim's team will fit out the ticket hall and top out the canopy with its glass panes and sedum plants, completing Whitechapel's upgrade ready for Crossrail trains to stop. 2 stops west in Farringdon, Andy's team is gearing up to assemble the diamond-shaped sections of Farringdon Station's vast ceiling. To get all the pieces of this puzzle in the right place, Andy needs to stick to his Bible.
What we have here is the plan of the ceiling itself. Each piece is individually named and numbered, so when they arrive on site, we know where we're going to lift them to. If we lose the drawing, then we're stuffed, basically. It'd be a really difficult jigsaw to do.
Pinch up nice and easy.
The beams that make up the diamond-shaped frames weigh up to 10 tons. Lowering them into position, right next to the operational Thameslink station, takes a delicate touch.
Keep coming down.
This is one of the tricky lifts that we've got to do. That's the ticket hall level. If you listen out, you can probably hear the announcements from the train station. Yeah, very close. We're moving it now millimetre by millimetre to get it into position, because we haven't got a lot to play with next to the Thameslink station.
Yeah, down on that.
Touchdown. So they've got the beam touched down, but they just need to move it into the exact location. So it's a couple of mil off at the bottom. So they're just working out how best to move it without damaging it. So as you can see, next to the Thameslink station, we're about probably 200 mil off.
They slowly slide the beam into position. With the ceiling's frame in place, they can slot in the diamond-shaped panels.
Pinch up nice and easy.
So it's just like a big jigsaw puzzle. Luckily, you won't lose any of these pieces under your sofa.
That's it, mate. All clear.
Afternoon, friends. Afternoon.
After 8 years' work, Farringdon Station is almost complete, and Linda gets her first glimpse of its grand entrance.
Wow, 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 wow. That looks fantastic. It's like when you walk into a cathedral. It is a relief to finish the last of the big builds on site. I suppose it's a little sad too, as it is whenever you accomplish something that feels great. Say diamonds are forever, but these diamonds are meant for 120 years at least.
With Farringdon's monumental entrance complete, the track team below ground head west towards Oxford Street and Paddington. As they put the finishing touches to the platforms and tunnels, workers at Crossrail's Bond Street station prepare to welcome a very special visitor.
I'm down in the eastbound tunnel now at the far end. Just checked the other boxes, everything seems to be okay.
Today they're announcing the new name for the railway line and are hoping for a royal seal of approval.
The Queen visiting the project certainly starts to make the whole project seem that much more real.
It's just an honour, you know, once in a lifetime opportunity. I did my curtsy, yeah.
It's quite surreal to see her actually down in the tunnels, but I feel it's a momentous occasion.
I couldn't be happier we're going to be the Elizabeth line. We're seeing that end in sight, and it's created a whole new wave of excitement from the team.
With Elizabeth Line trains due to start running from this station in less than 18 months' time, the pressure is now on to complete the rest of the railway. Next time, we follow the race to the finishing line.
There's no second chances. It gets the nerves going, the adrenaline pumping.
Weight's coming on now.
As workers battle to remodel Brunel's masterpiece, Paddington Station,
time is money here. We have to stay on schedule.
and build the rolling stock.
God, it's a hell of a challenge.
Will they make it so that the first trains depart on time?
Oh, not fun. I just want to end now.
To find out more about urban infrastructures and how cities are made, order this free poster produced by the Open University. Call 0300 303 3460 or go to bbc.co.uk/Crossrail and follow the links to the Open University.
And there's more next Monday at 9. Another big dig next on BBC Two. You know what they say, where there's muck, there's brass. The detectorists face some stiff competition in their hunt for treasure.